Hello, my name is Jaquita Miller and I'm a family consumer science agent with the K-State Extension Office here in Wyandotte County. Today we're going to talk about the benefits of a clean and clutter-free home. Keeping your house clean is crucial for physical health as well as mental health well-being. I'm going to share several benefits of having a clean environment. The first one, it increases productivity, creating a welcoming, functional space in your home, protecting belongings from damage, saving money long-term by maintaining appliances, finding items easily, which is always a good benefit. It enhances academic performance in students. They have a clean environment so they think and they flourish better. It prevents harmful diseases, fewer germs, allergens, and pests. And last, it improves air quality as well as creating a calm and prevents infestations from a variety of different pests that can come into the home. So there's a three-step important process to maintaining a clean and clutter-free home. The first step is having the right cleaning products. So you can see displayed here, I have a broom, we have a mop, so you may be seeing the handle. We also have a series of sponges and some window cleaner, bleach, just an all-purpose cleaner, dish detergent, and always important to think about safety, having gloves. At the bottom there you have a Microsoft towel that I really love to use on any surface. It's very, very important. And then some spray foam for the bathroom and also a cleansing that can work on pretty much any surface as well, primarily in the bathroom. And you can always benefit from having a bucket and you're carrying water and different things like that. And then I also have a vacuum. Now keep in mind, you may not need all of these supplies. It just depends on what you're using them for in your home. So if you don't have carpet, but I will tell you a lot of the vacuums today you can use on a variety of surfaces. That will be very important. So again, as we think about it, make sure that you have the appropriate cleaning supplies so that we're working smarter and not harder. That's my way of thinking. Okay, now we're going to go to step 2. Step 2 is very critical as well because it's going to be a suggested household cleaning schedule. So we've kind of spread it out to represent the kitchen, the bathroom, the living room, and the bedrooms. Those are kind of like the 4 core areas in our home. Keep in mind, if you have additional spaces like a basement and a garage, you also would need to add those in there too at some point. So what we suggest, and I'm going to give you an example of the kitchen. So they basically have a daily schedule, weekly, occasional, and seasonal schedule. So for example, daily in the kitchen, you can wash dishes, you can wipe the counters down, you can wipe out the sink. A weekly schedule, you can dispose of leftovers from the refrigerator because you really don't want those moldy items and things walking away out of your fridge. You can clean your garbage pail. So if you ever come in your house and you smell something, you're like, where is it coming from? I would definitely check that garbage pail. And do not forget to clean out that microwave. So those are all weekly tasks. Occasional chores, think of that in terms of 2 weeks, maybe a month. It depends on what your lifestyle, how many people are in the home. And so you can clean your drip pans if you have that kind of stove. And you can also clean your oven. So those are kind of those occasional chores. Seasonal chores, I would think of it in a quarterly amount. So you can clean your cupboards and you can do a deep cleaning of your floors. So those make a big difference. Think of, that was an example of the kitchen. So I want you to go back also and think about what does that look like for my living room? What does that look like for the bathroom? And what does that look like for my bedroom? And you'll go through all of those steps again. You'll go through the daily schedule, the weekly schedule, the occasional schedule, and the seasonal schedule. All right, now we're going to start with step 3. And this is cut the clutter and get organized. As consumers, we like our stuff. We like holding on to too many items that can cause chaos and problems in our home. How do you know if clutter is a problem in your home? Do you move something every time you need to sit down? Do you have piles of papers, magazines, boxes, books all over the house? Your closets and dresser drawers are so stuffed that you can't get any other items in there. Do you or a family member frequently say they cannot find something? So those are just some of the ways that you will know that you have a clutter problem, or there's just too many things around the house. And keep in mind, we want to make sure the house is healthy and we want to make sure that the house is safe. So some of the sources of clutter may be mail, paper, lots of toys, games, hobby materials, things that you said you're going to get to and you never quite got to them yet. All of those things, they qualify as a source of clutter. And out-of-date products, extra bags, and food tubs, just to name a few. So let's get started. The most important thing is for you to set a time and a date that you're going to get started. You decide what room you're going to start on, whether it's going to be the kitchen, living room, bedroom, or the garage or basement. I will suggest that you start very small, pick an area, and work in that area to get everything started. So box 1 is going to be the keep it box. So you're going to sort like things together, you're going to create a space, you're going to label items, you're going to return items where they belong. So say if you have cleaning supplies that you need for bathrooms and you have them in other parts of the house, you're going to make sure all of those items are going to get back where they need to go and in their right place. So when you are looking for them, you know where they are. So that is going to be the keep box. The second box is the storage box. And you can store things like your seasonal clothing. Some people will switch out winter and summer for different things. You still want to label your bins, and you want to make sure that you know where items are when you're storing them for a later time. So that's very important. Box 3, that's going to be the giveaway or the sale box. Now that can be a little tricky because remember, we like to hold on to our stuff. And because we hang on to our stuff, it's really hard for us to give away. So I would suggest if you want to give things away to a charity or a family member or a friend, you can have them come in and look at things. If you're wanting to make a little money on the side, you can have a garage sale, or you can send the things over to a consignment shop or some other online platform where you can actually recoup some of your money from the items that you've purchased. So that can be helpful for you as well. The fourth and the remaining box. Please pay attention to this box. This is the throwaway box. So this means that you're going to go through everything. So these are items that are broken and ripped and worn and soiled, and keep in mind you can recycle if possible. You can make rags to use for other things around the house, but you want to make sure that these things are not just taking up space, and making sure that you can get around and use the items that you have. So again, making rags out of old t-shirts and things of that nature can be very, very helpful. Now after you've gone through the 4 boxes and everything, you want to maintain a clutter-free home. So the first thing I want you to think about is you want to pick up items when you see them. So if there's things in the living room that may belong in the bedroom, you can pick those things up. You can also start small and maybe start with that kitchen catch-all drawer or underneath the bathroom sink or the kitchen sink, because those are areas that have things that are storage that are usually for that room. But if you start going through there and take things that are kind of old or outdated, or the use is no longer a purpose, you can go ahead and start there and get those things out of the way. Keep bags or boxes in areas so that when you are ready to give things away, you have a designated area so you can put those in. One of the things that I've done in the past, like I will keep like a bag or something in my closet in my bedroom, and then when I know I want to give it away, I'll put it inside the bag. Once the bag gets full, I will take it to my car, and then when I'm around, either take it to friends or take it to a charity of some sort. So that just kind of gives you an example. I also want you to give yourself a little time and patience. It usually takes about 2 to 4 weeks to create and maintain a new habit. So that's really important when you're trying to start a major task like this, especially if you have a lot of stuff. But keep in mind, while you're doing it, you're going to pat yourself on the back because you've started the process to make things better and healthier in your home. Key things to remember about clutter. The absence of clutter, it unclutters your mind, it unwinds everything, it reduces stress levels. In fact, research has shown that a clean environment can have a positive influence on mental well-being. A tidy home provides a sanctuary. So we've talked about a lot of things today. We started out by having appropriate household items so that you can clean your house appropriately. Remember to find items that work for you so that you are working smarter and not harder. The second part is maintain a schedule. If you start on the schedule and you look at the different places in your house, keep in mind it's going to depend on how many people are in your home. So you may have, if you have younger people or more than one, you can do a chore chart, or you can just talk about who's responsible for what. So maintaining that daily, weekly, occasional, and seasonal is very important when you're trying to maintain a clean and clutter-free home. And then we talked about the last part and the most critical part about these 4 boxes and different ways that you can start sorting things and getting things so your house can be the way you would like it to be. So remember that you have a keep it box. That is very important. That storage box, that giveaway or sale box, and then the last one, a throwaway box. So thank you so much for listening to me and talking about this topic on cleaning clutter-free living. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me by email. That is chmiller@ksu.edu. And you can always call the office number at 913-299-9300. Thank you so much.